My name is Dave Greenspan. I'm running, obviously, for County Council in District 1. I am a Republican candidate. I want to welcome you to Westlake. This is my home as well as Mr. French. And I want to thank the Westshore Tea Party for hosting this event this evening. It's very important that we get all the candidates together so the constituency understands and has an opportunity to look at each of us and look at each of us objectively. I've had an opportunity to speak to various groups throughout the county over the last 6 months since I declared my candidacy. And one of the things that I talk to each of the groups about is what should they look for in selecting a candidate. And there are 3 things I focus on: experience, vision, and the ability to have a proven track record of implementing that vision. Our experience is very important, and there are a number of us up here who have served on a city council before. But one of the things I want to key in on is relevant experience. I'm the only candidate, not only in this district, but in any of the other 10 districts or even at the county executive level, that has actually been engaged in reforming government. I was involved in the founding city council back in the suburb of Atlanta, the largest city in the country ever to incorporate, a city of nearly 100,000 people, which is almost the size of the district here in District 1. That's important because a lot of what we went through back in Sandy Springs, reforming from our county government to municipal government, are some of the same challenges we're going to face here. Having been there and done that, having seen what works and having seen what doesn't work firsthand is very important. Now, we talk about vision, and I talk to various groups about vision and what we need to do in looking at candidates. Obviously, ethics is the key #1 issue in this county. I proposed an ethics ordinance that has been studied by the County Ethics Commission. I proposed the creation of an independent inspector general to focus on ethics, to root out corruption and fraud in our county government, to work on efficiencies in government, as well as to work on providing cost savings within the county. I see my time is up. I've got a lot more to say. Hopefully, please ask me a lot of questions this evening. But I believe that it's important to focus on relevant experience when it comes to your county council candidate. And that's why I hope that you would support me in this election. Thank you.
With all the corruption in county government, there's a great deal of mistrust, anger, and frustration among county residents. What specific actions will you take to restore trust in the people that you serve?
Great question, and if you remember from my opening comments, I view this ethical issue and the corruption issue as the #1 issue we must address here in Cuyahoga County. Constituents, residents, businesses do not trust county government. We must instill that, and we must build on a strong future in which our residents and businesses trust that they will be treated fairly in Cuyahoga County. Now, I declared my candidacy on March 15th. On March 27th, I proposed an actual ethics ordinance that we adopted back in Atlanta and modified it slightly here to fit what I believe would work well in Cuyahoga County. One of the first pieces of legislation that I would bring forward is an actual ethics ordinance. Now, the Ethics Commission for the Transition Advisory Group actually published this ordinance this week. I believe it's a very good start for us moving in the right direction. But this is only an ethics ordinance. We must set the tone as a council, as the leaders of this community, for how we expect government to operate, not only amongst the elected officials, but between the employees, the volunteers, and the appointed officials that represent us at the county level. The other thing that I've done, and this was about 2 months ago, I also proposed a second ordinance. And that ordinance would create an office of an independent inspector general, which I spoke of earlier. This office is specifically charged with working and operating outside of county government, so they're free from input and influence from any county official, in order to prevent and detect fraud and corruption. They are also designed, this ordinance is also designed to be able to work on providing efficiency in government and reduce wasteful spending. These things must be passed immediately before we talk about job creation, before we talk about anything else within government. We have got to stamp out this corruption right now in county government. I believe that the combination of these 2 ordinances that I've presented will put us on the right track and lead us to down the right path. Thank you. Thank you. I am intimately familiar with this document, with the proposal as it was outlaid. As a matter of fact, I reviewed it. I'm a chief financial officer by trade, so I have a very intimate knowledge of understanding budgets and evaluating projects, having brought 2 companies public and worked with startup ventures over the last 15 years, which is exactly what this is, which is why this skill set falls very nicely into what's going on here in county government. I actually had some comments when I was originally presented with this original proposal, went back to the author And we worked through some of the challenges that I saw, and actually some modifications were made based on my observations. So the revised version actually is, it moves us in the right direction. We have to understand that what we're talking about here is economic development. And this is not going to be the silver bullet that's going to save Cuyahoga County. It's not. But it is a major component to help move us forward. We're going to see, and I've met with various organizations that are involved with the Medical Mart, with the Convention Center. We're going to find that the convention business is going to be, from a convention, from a visitor's perspective, a smaller component of the convention center's usage. There's 125,000 square feet of dedicated medical technology showroom space, but 325,000 square feet of general showroom space. That space fits 93% of the conventions that are available and that are conducted throughout the United States. We have an opportunity to get a portion of that convention space. It is important to the county. It is important to the region. We will, through the projections that are outlined in this report, generate $60 million in direct labor income dollars by the creation of the Medical Mart. That's an important component to how as we help drive this county forward and grow our economic development. The casinos are another major component. The East Flats redevelopment are another major component. We have to look at this in its entirety, not just as one element within our community. Thank you.
What's the question?
I'll repeat. The question is actually, if I may phrase it, is a regionalism question. Yeah, the question of combining the municipalities into one county government, or under one county umbrella, correct? Ma'am, I can tell you, having lived in Fulton County, Georgia, where that was done, it is not a successful model. There are opportunities here, and the Westshore communities are an example of that, where we are looking at combining some services voluntarily. Westlake is one of those communities that's looking at a fire authority. I would not be in favor of a county super government that would provide services. It doesn't work. Trust me, I've seen it firsthand. I can give you example after example. I'll tell you that the community that I was on the founding city council, we were the size effectively of this district. So from Bay to Fairview Park out to Olmsted Township, we had 5 policemen patrolling our streets because the county was providing that service. Government was so far from the people that we couldn't even get policemen and firemen to respond in a timely fashion. Our education was managed by a county board of education. And we all know where Georgia ranks, unfortunately, in the educational statistics. So I've seen it firsthand where it does not work. I've ridden with 5 of the 6 police departments in this district. And I can tell you there's something about community policing that is very effective. Economic development obviously is a key and critical component to the growth and success of any community. And one of the things that I did early on when I declared my candidacy was come up with an economic development plan that we can strategize with our county government to make it more efficient. We have to get out of the way of these businesses. The concept I came up with was I called for the creation of economic development zones. So for example, District 1 in Olmsted Falls, because Olmsted Falls is very closely related to the township, could be an economic development zone. The county has an economic development officer, an EDO, that's assigned to that economic development zone to be the single point of contact between the county and the state and the federal government to ensure that those businesses and those communities and the chambers of commerce and the local municipalities have the tools they need to be successful. The other thing that's important is we talk about waiting for businesses to come to us. We need to engage in outbound economic development activities. We need to be proactive and make sure that our communities have what they need, but go out and get what they want and bring them here into Cuyahoga County. It's been my experience that if you wait for something to happen to you, nothing happens at all. Thank you.